everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is Rosie. I'm Rosie X Stitches here on YouTube and over on Instagram. First of all, I'd like to say a massive thank you to anyone who is returning, who has watched me previously. I do appreciate I've not been here for a couple of years and lots has happened in that time in the community. So thank you very much to anyone who is returning, and also a massive welcome to anyone who is new to my channel and has stumbled across me. Today I would like to do a finish parade, show you everything that I've stitched so far in 2026. I'm not going to go back to when I stopped filming Flosstubes because that would be a feature length video. So I thought it'd be more manageable to just do what I've done in 2026 and also share my WIPs with you that I've brought forward and I'm currently stitching on, and then plans. To start off with, I'm just going to quickly introduce myself. My name is Rosie. As I said, I'm Rosie X Stitches here and over on Instagram. I am based in England, in the UK, and I am a primary school teacher, which is fabulous. I work hard during term times, but I've got lots of holidays which I can set aside for some good quality stitching time. Jump straight into it now. I've restarted this video I don't know how many times. I finally put my teeth in and I'm just going to get straight into the stitching so that we can make a start and get this done, because my baby has already been asleep for a good 45 minutes to an hour, so I'll be lucky if I get another hour to get this filmed. So I have got notes down here, so if I am looking down, that is what I'm looking at. I haven't done this for quite some time, so it may be a bit clunky, so please do bear with me, but I am going to do my best. So the first finish I had of 2026 was my Croakworth, which was an ink circles piece. I started this on the 9th of March 2024 and I finished it on the 21st of January 2026. It is stitched on a 32 count platinum Murano even weave in a Valdani thread called Vintage Pastel, apart from this little motif in the middle where I decided I wanted to make it pop just a little bit, where I've just used DMCs I've picked myself from my stash just to make that stand out in that middle motif. This is called Croakworth, and that's the centre of the piece and the frogs. It is 2 over 2 full cross. So that is my first finish of 2026. My second finish of 2026 was a slightly different one. This one was my first experience of some what I'd call hardcore backstitch. So this one is, oh hang on, sorry, I do apologise, I'm trying to do too many things at once. This one's called Sweet Walrus Couple, and this one is designed by Demina from Little Room in the Attic. I started this on the 28th of January 2025. I'm just going to move. I stuck a post-it note to try and help myself, and I stuck it over the information, which is really helpful. And then I finished it on the 20th of February 2026. It's stitched on a 32 counts Aqua Splash by Zweigart in DMC Royal Embroidery, and there is some Krynic in there as well to add some sparkle. And it's 2 over 2 full cross with lots of backstitch in there to just make it pop. So yeah, a really lovely pattern, really pleased with it. There are a few personalizations in there where I just didn't read the pattern correctly, but I'm happy with it. So as long as that's the case, that's all that matters. My next finish, well, I'm going to show these together, I think. So I have stitched these throughout 2026, with my most recent one being the crab, which I finished on the 12th of April this month, so 12th this month, but I'm going to show you them all as a collection. So a few months ago, at the end, possibly last year, I saw on Instagram someone posting about these beautiful kits that I hadn't seen before from Unicstitch.com, and I absolutely fell in love with them. The sea creatures were just incredible. So I then put in an order for the first 3 of these beautiful patterns that were released. So the first ones that were released were the Jellyfish, which was the first one that I stitched. It was the Seahorse, which was the second one that I stitched. And as you can see, they're full of beads and gems and beautifulness. So the Seahorse was the second one in that first collection. And then the third one was the Starfish, from the first three that were produced by Unicstitch. And the lovely Lauren at Cross Stitch Bunny, she's done a fabulous detailed video about these kits. I can't rate them highly enough. They're fabulous. Everything comes, threads are sorted, beads are there, you get your needles, you get the backing fabric, you get the hanger, everything you could possibly need is in the kits. And they absolutely stitch up so beautifully, and they're just stunning. They really are. They're the ladies who created these kits and these designs. Every time I do one, I just think, oh, the placement of the beads, the placement of the gems, it just works. And I absolutely love them. As you can see, I've done the first three of the collection, the first three from the collection, the Marine collection that they released. They then recently released 3 new ones. So of course, I had to do those ones as well. So I have done the Manta Ray. Again, you can't quite appreciate just the beads on these. Beautiful Manta Ray. And I have done, my most recent one is the Crab, which I think because of the colours, it's just beautiful. Absolutely stunning. I have still got one remaining.
What I've got left to do is the turtle. So that is all 6 of the Marine collection from Unicstitch that have been released. I was speaking to the ladies from Unicstitch, and they have informed me that in the summer they're going to bring out some further additions to this collection, which I'm really excited about, and I just know that I will absolutely be purchasing them as well. So that is those Unicstitch kits that I have finished so far this year. The next finish that I've had is my scatter eggs. So
I started this on the 5th of April 2026 and I finished it on the 6th of April 2026. So as you can see, we've got scatter eggs written behind, and then I have attached the buttons that are part of this pattern to it as well. Hope you can see that. Beautiful buttons. However, the only thing is, I did feel that some of the buttons were just a little bit on the big side for it. This is stitched on a 32 count mimosa green even weave, so it's not the count should be fine. The buttons just seem a little bit big, and they seem a lot bigger than on the actual cover photo for it. So yeah, I'm not really sure why, but I've still stuck with it, still followed it and put the beads on. So that was my next finished of 2026. My last finish that I've had is this one, which is called The Never Ending Cycle, and it's the first one of 3 patterns I'm going to do from Hands On Designs. And they're all puns and sayings linked to laundry, ironing, mundane jobs that we find ourselves doing. And I wanted to do all 3 of these, and then I'll put them in my utility room where my washing machine is, and frame them all. So this is stitched on 16 count antique white Ada with all the called for DMCs. So that's my finishes so far in 2026. There's not a huge amount, but lots of those have been new starts. So for example, the Seahorse, the Starfish, the Crab, the the Stingray are all new starts in 2026. The Scatter Eggs, the Laundry, the Never Ending Cycle, also new starts. So there's been quite a few new starts. I haven't actually finished off many of my WIPs that I brought forward. But hopefully, as we move through the year, I will start to tick off some of those older WIPs as well. So that is my finishes. I'm now going to move on to my WIPs. I have tried to open up as many of my WIP bags as possible. I may have forgotten some of them, so I do apologise about any zipping that happens as I go through. I'm going to try and do these in chronological order, starting with my oldest WIP all the way through to my most current WIP, because I also like, when I watched other people's WIP parades, I liked seeing that chronology, and it's also helpful for me moving forward as sort of a log. So my oldest WIP is B, from the artwork of Lorna, Laine and charted by Gecko, Rouge. This is the first WIP. This one was started in 2023, so this is a 2023 WIP, started on the 19th of January. I got this as a Christmas present from my husband, who wasn't my husband then, but yeah, I got it as a Christmas present, and so I started it quite quickly after Christmas in the new year that year. Sorry, it's not ironed. This is as far as I have got. This one was pulled out quite recently for March Madness, and I managed to get quite good progress on this. If you want to see the progress that I made, feel free to go over to all of my Instagram. So if you want to go over there and have a little look, that's where all the progress is there. So this is stitched using all of the kit supplies. I went for an 18 count Ada, and it's 2/1 full cross. I am stitching this along with Cross Stitch Jess, who is here on YouTube and over on Instagram, and she started at the top left corner, and she is using a beautiful hand-dyed fabric rather than the kit, so it looks absolutely beautiful. I love seeing how different versions of this pattern are being stitched up, so yeah, really lovely. So that is my oldest WIP, 19th of January 2023, and that one is nowhere near finishing, so that's going to be quite some time before that one is off the WIP list, but it's one of very few full coverages that I have in my WIP pile. My next one, sorry, just skipping to the next page, is Victoria Sponge by Emma Congdon. I'm not sure if I've got a picture. Oh yes, I do. Fabulous. So here is what the finished pattern will look like. This one I first saw on Amy from Nifty Stitches Flosstube. She did the Christmas pudding, which is what sparked my interest in this sort of pattern style, where the ingredients and instructions are all on the same piece. Sorry about the rustling. So then I went over and had a little look myself, and I saw the Victoria Sponge version that I wanted to have a go at. So this is as far as I've got. So as I said, this is called Victoria Sponge. It's by Emma Congdon. I started this on the 7th of April 2023. It's on a 25 count ivory garnet even weave and stitched with DMC, but I don't know why I decided it would be a good idea. I don't even think I did. I think because this was so early on in my stitching, I decided to do it 1/1 full cross, and I don't really know why. I would have been better off doing it 2/1, I think, but 2/2, sorry. But anyway, it's 2/1 now, and it's not 2/1 at all. It's 1/1. Sorry, rusty. 1/1 full cross, which presents its own issues with the fact that sometimes the threads fall under the weave depending on which direction the weave is. So there's been many a days where I've had to try and wrangle it to try and get it to stay above the threads of the fabric. But I think once it's finished, it will look lovely, being that little bit more petite. Would I stitch the other ones in this sort of style 1/1? Probably not. But yeah, that's where I am with that one. So that one's 1/1 full cross, Victoria Sponge by Emma Congdon. My next one, oh, this one's a popular one. This stitched by quite a few people. This one is Spring Quaker by Lila Studio. So I'll show you what it'll look like when it's finished. I'm sure you've seen this one. It's quite popular. Sorry about the reflection. There we go, that's better. So this is Spring Quaker by Lila Studio. I started this on the 15th of April 2023. We haven't got a huge amount here. So this is as far as we've got. So this was started 15th of April 2023. It's stitched on 14 counts Cafe au Lait vintage Newcastle linen. I'm using the classic colour works on the cord fours and the DMCs. It's 1/2 full cross. So this one was pulled out for March Madness, so it has had some love this year so far. But that is where we're up to now. Some of these projects are I seem to have started bigger projects before. Sorry, zip. Forgot, apologies. I've started lots of bigger projects. I don't seem to be making my way through those bigger projects. I seem to be starting smaller projects now. But we keep plugging away, The next one I've got, this is a love-hate one, this one. The next one I've got, I found on, let's say, I can't remember, maybe Facebook Marketplace somewhere, Facebook Marketplace or a Facebook group, D-Stash. So it's this one, it's a Design Works kit, originally charted by Joan Elliot. I call it A Dream of Happiness, but I'm not quite sure what the actual proper name is. It doesn't actually say what the actual name of the chart is called. But yeah, so this is one that I've got. So when I was younger, my mum cross-stitched, and she did a cross-stitch for me, which had sort of like one of these dream catchers. And when I saw this, it instantly brought back those memories. And I was like, oh, I'd love to stitch one of those too. However, I decided to pick one that had 4 dream catchers in and lots of text. It's a paper pattern, which is time consuming anyway because I struggle with paper patterns. I'm much more of a pattern keeper, cross stitch saga kind of a stitcher now. Oh, blind, this one's still got a needle in it. Yeah, and this one's just, it's got all the, I'm using all the called for, all the kit fabric and materials. I'm just not drawn to picking it up, to be honest. I'm just finding it a bit of a slog. It's very bitty. There isn't much block stitching, even in the text itself. It's a gradient text, so there's not a huge amount of block stitching in it. I did initially take this away when I went on holiday, but bitty stitching when you're away on holiday is just, bitty stitching when you're away on holiday is just not enjoyable. So it wasn't a great choice. It's a 14 count white Ada. I don't often stitch on 14 count white Ada anymore. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty, it's colourful, but it's one of those ones that I think I'm keeping because of the sentimental value rather than because of the enjoyment of stitching on it. So I do need to have a really good think about whether or not that's one I do want to keep as a WIP, or whether I just say it was nice while it lasted to stitch on it, but actually it's never going to get done because I'm never drawn to stitching on it. I don't know. That's a ongoing battle with myself that's going on. The next one is another one of the Quakers, of Lila Studios Quakers. This one is the Summer Quaker. Oh, hang on, let's get the angle right. There we go. Summer Quaker. This one I started on the 15th of August 2023. So I just wrangle the fabric. There we go. Sorry about that. So this is as far as I've got so far. It's on 40 count lamb's wool linen, DMCs and all the called fors, and it's stitched 1/2 full cross. I wanted to do it on the 40 count so it'd come out the same size as the Spring Quaker. This one has been out so far this year in 2026, and I focused in on this during March Madness. So it has had some love, but not a huge amount. The Quakers are one. I love the look of a Quaker. I just need to get into it. But with March Madness, I found that I was just getting into it, and then I had to start stitching on the next thing. So all the things, although it was a lovely idea, whether I'll do March Madness again next year, I don't know, because I found it difficult. I was getting into something and then I had to change. So whether I do that again next year, I don't know. But yeah, that's Summer Quaker by Lila Studio. Hopefully it'll come out again this year, but I'm not guaranteeing that it will. The next one I've got, oh yeah, I like this one. This one is, oh sorry, I don't think I knocked that one. It's from Our Forest Embroidery. This is the Black Vintage Sampler. Absolutely love this one. This one's had quite a lot of progress actually. I think because it's a monochrome piece, I've got the Our Forest threads, which are lovely to stitch with. And this is where I am. Sorry, I'm trying to put them on a board because I think otherwise you'll be able to see through the fabric, which is never very easy. So this is where I am up to. So I have got, this one was starting on the 28th of August 2023. It's stitched on a 32 count fabric from Coffee Craft Fabrics. I'm using the Our Forest threads, as I said, and it's 2/2 full cross, and there is a small amount of backstitch sort of around their faces here so far. So very minimal backstitch, but very pretty. And I do love using those Our Forest threads. I might be able to tell you what percentage this is on actually. I probably could tell you what B was on as well, but obviously I wasn't that organised. 1 second. So 29.2% is what my is what this vintage sampler is on. 29.2%, so nearly a third of the way through. And B, one of my oldest one is on 12.69%. So slowly. The other ones are paper patterns, so I haven't got those stats in the same way. I will try and remember to give you the percentages moving forward of what I have got electronically. Sorry about the rustling, otherwise it's going to end up in a right mess if I don't. Okay. Next one. Well, this one does have, this one's a saga file because lovely Maria sent me the saga file for this, which I'm very, very thankful for. So this one is a little bit different. This is the Wonderosal by Quaternion Creations. People say it differently. I never know which way to say it. Quaternion Creations or Quaternion Creations. So I do apologise. Beautiful pattern. So this is where I've got here. This is a black work focus. So as I said, this is the Wonderosal. I started this on the 4th of October 2023. It's stitched an 18 count grey Ada from Coffee Craft Fabrics, and I'm using the DMCs, and it's a mainly backwork project. There is some cross stitches in here, but it is predominantly backstitch. This is at 9.91%. It did come out in March for March Madness, and again it's one of those ones that I was really miffed that I had to put down because I had to move on to the next project. This is on a beautiful floss drop from Charlie Feathers. Beautiful one. Because it's so heavenly just DMC 310, I'm just using that floss drop, which is beautiful. Okay, next one. Sorry, I do apologise about keeping on looking down. Oh, this is a big one. This is a biggie. This is a biggie. Whether this will ever get done in my lifetime, I have no idea. But this one is the Epic Pokemon Generation 1 from charted by Lord Libiden. I started this on the 29th of December 2023. It's on 20 count Black Ada using the DMC and Royal Embroidery threads. It's stitched 1/1 full cross, and this is currently at 1.03%. And this is a total of 113,922 stitches in total. So it is a big project. What it should look when it's finished, if it's ever finished, I apologise about the poor quality of the picture, but it should look like that. As you can see, I'm only down here, so I've not done a huge amount at all. This did come out in March again and had a bit of love. It got quite far, but it's going to take a lot of marches to get that finished. Right, next one. Oh, yay. Okay, this one, pretty, very pretty. I like this one. Well, I like them all. Oh, I can't remember which way around it is. So I suppose it doesn't really matter, does it? I think it's this way. So, this is Koi Pond by Shanon Christine Designs. I started this on the 27th of January 2024. So we're now into the 2024 bracket. It's stitched on a 28 count light blue linen in DMC, Royal Embroidery. There's some dinky dyes in here, 2/2 full cross, but there is some speciality stitches. There's some beads. I started doing the beading as I've gone along, and some crystals, and then there's some Krynic thread as well. This is supposed to be Krynic, however, I'm using some from Stash. I'm using a DMC. Which one is it? What's it called? DMC E677 instead. To use it because I had it in Stash to save buying it, and Krynic's quite hard to come by at the moment, so or certain colours of Krynic are. So yeah, pleased with that so far. It is currently on, I don't have, it's a paper pattern, it's a PDF, but it doesn't go into Pattern Keeper because of the speciality stitches, so I don't actually know a percentage on this one. But yeah, no, pleased with that one. This one came out in March as well for March Madness, so it has had some love, but it's still got quite a long way left to go. The beads, I probably should also mention, is that the beads themselves are substituted, so I didn't get the called for beads. I bought other ones that are like those ones that are quite significantly cheaper, because some of the beads and treasures on this are quite expensive. And for some of them, for example, sorry, that's not very helpful, was it? For example, these ones here, these teardrop ones, I don't know if you can see them very well, there's some teardrop buttons here, are really expensive to come by, and I think I need 8, which would have been quite expensive, but I managed to get a whole tube of them for a fraction of the price. They're not the called for, like I said, but they're close enough. So that's Koi Pond. My next one, Variety of Life by Bothy Threads. So here is what the final piece will look like. And this one, Variety of Life by Wrendale Designs, and charted by Bothy Threads. It is stitched on all of the fab kit supplies. So as you can, I've completely finished the owl, and I moved on to the robin. I started this on the 17th of February 2024. It's on the 16 count speckled Wrendale Ada, and it's 2/1 full cross. Very pretty, very confetti heavy, like all the Wrendales are, but very pretty to look at. I have still got quite a bit of time left to do on this. I started this with Lauren from Lauren Cross Stitch Bunny. She has finished it, so if you want to see the finished article, go over to her Flosstube and her Instagram to see what it looks fully stitched, not just in the picture. So that is that one. Again, that's a paper chart, so I don't have the statistics for that one, I'm afraid. Oh, this one's a bit different. So this is a blanket. So this one's stitched on an Anne cloth, a soft white Anne cloth. You're going to have to bear with me a minute because it's... So basically, I went to the Nimble Thimble, oh gosh, a couple of years ago, and I was on the hunt for an Afghan. Now, Chris the Nimble Thimble didn't have the Afghan patterns or the Afghan material. However, what she did have was this Shepherd's Bush Wandering Vine pattern, which came with the cloth. Now, this just does not do it justice. So this is a cover photo. So when I first saw it, I'm in an iron a little bit about it because it does look quite old-fashioned, and the colours just didn't really pop. However, when you stitch it up, the colours are just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So this one is being stitched it's on a soft white Anne cloth, and it's stitched with DMC pearl cotton in numbers 5 and number 8. 1/2 full cross, and there is backstitch in it. I've only started doing the top border, so there's quite a long way to go with this. But the colours, honestly, it just doesn't do it justice. It's absolutely gorgeous, and that cover photo is just, yeah. I can't wait to get down into the actual characters down here, the shepherds, and the house and the sheep at the bottom. I just think it'll be absolutely lovely. So you can see some of the patterns around the side here where they've made them bigger and put them on the cushions. But as I said, I got the cloth as part of what Chris was selling on, and it was just an absolute bargain. So I got the whole piece of cloth and the pattern. I think it was it £30? And yeah. Even though I was a bit hesitant about the cover photo, I just thought, actually, I've got to give it a go. For £30, I've got to give it a go. So I did. Yeah, and that was started on the 11th of February 2024. I've got to keep it in a big bag because of the big fabric. So that's that one. Oh, that's made me want to get that blanket out, but I think for the summer it might be a little bit hot under that blanket. The next one is another ink circles pattern. So this one is the companion piece for my Croakworth that I finished earlier on in the year. So this is Quackworth 2007. So as it is the sister piece, I have decided to stitch on the same fabric. So once again, it's on a 32 count platinum Murano even weave, but I have changed the colours up. So I'm still using Valdani threads. I'm using, which one was it called? Summer Sky it's called. So I'm using some Valdani Summer Sky, and it's 2/1 full cross. And then similarly to what I did with Croakworth, I will change the middle motif. So this one here with the ducks in it, I'll make it into like bright yellow, I think is what I'm going to go with because I also think it'll look really lovely with the blue. So that is as far as I've got. This one did again come out for March Madness because I tried to target my older WIPs for March Madness. So that one did come out for March Madness, and it did have a little bit of love, but it didn't make it very far within it. So I think it only got one day. This one I have got on Pattern Keeper, so I will be able to share with you what the percentage is. So that's at 27.08%. So nearly a third of the way for that one, which could, if I put my mind to it, I probably could get done sooner rather than later. There's just so many pretty things I want to start. The next one I've got is a Primative Hare piece, which is How to Be a Mermaid. So this one I started on the 10th of May. I am using, Rachel of Talking Dog Stitchery used to stock the Primative Hare fabrics. She might have a few of them in her clearance still, but she no longer stocks the Primative Hare fabrics. But she did stock, sorry about the thread, you can tell this one, obviously I was halfway through and then put it down. So I have got the called for fabric for this one, and it is a 30 count Pirates linen from the Primative Hare, and I'm using the DMC Weeks Dye Works and Classic Colour Works for this, and it's 2/2 full cross. I haven't got very far at all with it. I've just started on one of the signposts. We're trying to get the positioning so I had it in the right place so I could still see the ship here, and having all this, I couldn't do my just general centre star. I had to try and jiggle it around a little bit, but we got there, and I'm hoping it will be all right and the positioning is fine for when I come down. So my plan is to come down here to start off with and make sure it all lines up properly, and then do the mermaid at the top and the text. Sorry about the crinkly fabric, I do apologise. I don't actually own an iron. So yeah, that's that one. Ooh. Next WIP, trying to rattle through these, is one that I got out of a cross stitcher magazine. So this pattern is out of the June 2025 magazine. I will input a picture of what it will look like when it's finished. But this is Animals Assemble by Durene Jones. So this was started on the 17th of May 2025. It's on an 18 count antique white Ada, and I'm using DMC Embroidery, and it's 2/2 full cross with the back stitch. So as you can see, we've got little collections. Basically, it's all celebrating the collective nouns. And as a primary school teacher, I do appreciate a collective noun. I do find it fascinating whenever I teach them, and the kids do as well. Just the the randomness of some of the collective nouns that are given to different groups of animals. So we've got the sleuth of bears, the descent of woodpeckers, and the keat of badgers. So I'm looking for, these are nice because they're sort of like little mini finishes. So yeah, that's a really lovely one to stitch on, and because it's on Ada as well, it is an easier stitch to do. That one is, as I said, from the Cross Stitcher magazine of June 2025 edition, but because of that I don't have it on Pattern Keeper, so I don't know all the statistics linked to it. Next one is Welcome to the North Pole. This one is quite a popular one. Lots of people have been stitching around the Christmas period. So it's this one here, Welcome to the North Pole by Primrose Cottage Stitches. I've only just sort of started doing this top section here. So I've done the top part here, and then I'm on the train part. And it is lovely, these patterns, because they do break it down into the chunks, so you can part it up quite easily. I am here, sorry, to strangle the fabric. There we go. So this is this was started on the 1st of July, so it's for Jolly July 2025. It's stitched on a 32 count raw linen with a silver sparkle, which I picked up from the Patchwork Rabbit. It's DMC Classic Colour Works, and there's some weak style works in there as well. 2/2 full cross, and the back stitch. Now I have got the bead pack to go with the button pack as well to go with this, which I believe is in here. Yes, it is. So I have got the button pack as well to go with it. So I will be omitting the bits that are not needed and sewing these on. So for example, on the back of this first carriage here, there should be a blue parcel stitched here. However, because I've got the button pack, it will be a blue button that will be sewn on there. That's Welcome to the North Pole. This one is a PDF. I have also got it as a PDF, but they don't go into the Primrose Cottage patterns, don't go into Pattern Keeper, so I'm using the PDF reader instead, because also these are really pretty, and the colour charts, so I don't want, marking them off is a little bit more challenging, which is why I bought the PDF on top of the paper chart. And on top of the paper pattern as well. So that's that one. Oh, sorry, zipped it up. I keep forgetting. I do apologise. Next one. Right, this is one that I'm currently stitching on at the moment because it's part of my WIP Go calls. So one of my WIP Go calls for March was to stitch on something seasonal. So this is the one that I've been I've chosen to stitch. I will put a what it'll look like when it's finished here. Now this one was my unicorn pattern, so I spent ages trying to hunt down what this pattern was called, where I could get my hands on it, because I wanted to stitch it for my son. I first saw it on Samantha the Unicstitch's Flosstube, but it was she was very open, you know, she'd bought it from a D stash, and she was very lucky to come by it, and you know, they didn't come up very often. So this one is ready for Christmas. It's a ready for Christmas stocking, it's called, and it's charted by Joan Elliot. I started it on the 2nd of October 2025. It's on 25 count sparkle snow even weave, and I'm stitching it in the DMC Royal Embroidery, and then these bits in between here are Krynic, and there is a little bit of Krynic sparkle in the belt buckle as well. 2/2 full cross, and there is some fractional stitches in here and some French knots. So as I said, it was my unicorn. I did find it really difficult to try and track it down. However, I decided as a last resort, I thought, do you know what? I'll try and message Joan Elliot directly. I went onto her website, found her contact details, and I messaged. And I thought, you know, it's going to go one of two ways. She's going to say, yep, she's got it. Or she's going to say, no, I haven't. That's long. It's such an old pattern. It's gone. However, she was amazing. She said it is an old pattern. She's got it somewhere in her archive. She'll dig it out. She'll rechart it for me and make sure it's all right. Because it was done for, was it Dimension? Not Dimensions. I can't remember who she charted it for originally. But she'll redo it, make sure it's all there, and she'll send it over. And make sure it's pattern keeper compatible. So bless her, she did. She sent it over. And it's now at 20% or 20.46%, and it's been fab. I sent her over the money for it directly, and she sent it on over. Brilliant. And then she's also done, there's a couple of her stockings. I really love her stocking style, and there's a couple of other stockings which, if I remember, I'll put pictures in here, that I've also messaged her about. And again, they were older patterns, and brilliant customer service. She said she'd dig them out, find them for me. She put a bit of magic on them, made them pattern keeper compatible, sent them over. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So thank you very much for that. Brilliant. My next one. Oh, this one is completely a Lauren Cross Stitch Bunny enabling. Yeah, by the Sea collection by Karen Carter, and it's called Bay Watching. So it comes with, so this particular one came with a 14 count Ada. I didn't want to use 14 count Ada because of the fractional stitches in it, so I swapped out the fabric. So this is a 32 count antique white even weave instead. It's a DMC kit, it's stitched in DMC from the kit, and it's 2/2 full cross, and there is quite a lot of back stitch in it. This is a paper chart from the kit, so I don't have all the statistics for it, but I have taken a photo of the pattern and using it in Exodo so I can mark it off, so I'm not marking the actual pattern itself. I have got a number of other of the By the Sea collection from Karen Carter's, so I'm hoping to get them all finished and sort of frame them as a 3. Next one. Sorry, I'm in and out of the camera, I do apologise. My whips are getting further and further away now as I'm working through my basket. So this one, I will put a picture in here of what it will look like when it's finished. This, oh, I don't know which way, I think it goes that way. This one is called Dragon Family 2, and it is stitched by Nadezhda Gavrilenkova, and I got this off of her Etsy. Not a very big start, it's not going to say it is, but I started this on the 1st of February 2026, so this year. Now, this is only 0.65% complete, and what I found was, because of the darker nights at that point, I found it really hard to stitch on because of the dark fabric. I'm hoping now that the lighter days are coming in, that actually we'll be able to get some more progress on this, and move it along quite quickly now that it's lighter and easier to see on the dark fabric. So this is stitched on 16 count black Ada. I'm stitching this in CXC. And I made the choice, normally I'm a DMC or a Royal Embroidery stitcher, but I made the choice with the CXC because it's fluffier, and so I thought with the black fabric I'd get better coverage. So CXC 2/2 full cross, and it does have lots of backstitch in it. It does come with a saga, so when you buy your patterns from her on Etsy, there is a saga option there. So that will be really helpful when it comes to doing the back stitching. And as I said, it's on 0.65%. But I just thought this one was beautiful with the 2 adult dragons and then the 2 baby dragons, which is really cute. Next one. Oh, this is one that I'm currently working on. I really want to get this to a finish and over the line. Oh, sorry, that one didn't. I hadn't unzipped this one. I do apologise. And this one has got a working thread, because as I said, I am working on this at the moment. This one is called Love Is My Jam, and it is from Sweet Wing Studio. I started this on the 28th of February 2026. It's stitched on a 32 count even weave from Coffee Craft Fabrics. And I'm stitching this using Classic Colourworks, the Weeks Dye Works and the DMC. And it's 2/2 full cross widths. This start is wholeheartedly being blamed on Jess of Cross Stitch Jess. Wholeheartedly. So this is the Twisted Band Sampler. So if you haven't been watching Jess's progress, she has been doing the Twisted Band Sampler, which she's recharted in her own colours in like a pastel palette. And then she's just started another one, which is in a bolder, brighter colours. Now, she started that one for her birthday. And so when she started the next one, I was like, oh, I'm going to have to start it. Now, this is a pitiful start. You could barely even call it a start. But I started it on the 12th of March. You see it? Look, teeny tiny. And it's stitched on 32 count Stormy Cloud Merino even weave. Murano even weave. And I'm using the Dinky Dyes silk. Now, the Dinky Dyes and the pattern I picked up from Rachel from Talking Dog Stitches. So there's all the beautiful colours of the Dinky Dyes. Sorry about the rustling. Lovely rainbow palette there. I would say this is what it looks like, but because I've been looking at the pattern, I've rejiggled the order around. So I should have, there it is. Sorry. That is what it'll look like when it's finished. So I'm right up here at the very, very tip top here. Few stitches to say I've started it. But it started. There it is, look. Oh, can you tell what it is yet? But the Dinky Dyes are lovely to stitch with. And I thought, as it's a rainbow sampler, I wanted something that maybe looks a little bit cloudy, sky vibes, which is why I went for the fabric that I did of Stormy Cloud. So yeah, that is the specialty stitches version as well. So I'll be able to also practice a variety of different other stitches. Look at me, getting fancy, broadening my horizons so they're not just crosses. All sorts of fanciness going on. So that is that. And again, that's purely a blame on Jess from Cross Stitch Jess. Would not have started that if she wasn't starting her new one for her birthday. So that's that. How many have I got left? 1, 2 to go. 2 left. 2 whips left. Right, so the next one I started this month on the 7th of April. I'll put a picture of what it looks like, what it looked like when it's finished. And this is one of the beaver moments. So myself, Lauren of Cross Stitch Bunny and Charlie from Charlie Feathers decided to start a beaver pattern on the International Beaver Day. So this is as far as I've got. I'm doing Beaver Moments number 3. As you can see, I've got a beautiful needle-minder here of a beaver. This is from Charlie Feathers' new collection. This is Twiggy, the beaver, which is just perfect. So I've got that one, and then that is my start. I have got this one does come as a saga, and so I'm at 23.8% so far. And lots of this here is all half stitch, and then the beavers themselves are the full cross. I've not started any of the back stitch yet, but yeah, really lovely stitch, really pretty. And the fabric here is a 28 count linen, hand dyed by Stitch Bunny shop, and I'm using DMC and Royal Embroidery, and there are some fractional stitches in this as well. So that's that one. And then my final project is my baby jackalope. Right, I'll put a picture in here of what this one will look like when it's finished. This one just brings me so much joy. It's such a cutie. So this is where I've got to so far on my baby jackalope. It is designed by Needle Lot Designs. Beautiful pattern. So easy to follow, so easy to stitch. Yeah, really lovely. So this one is stitched on a 28 count unnamed fabric by Cross Stitch Bunny shop. DMC and Royal Embroidery threads, and it's 2/2 full cross. I've decided to colour complete with this one, so this has got the first 2 colours completed, and then I'll move on to the next highest count remaining and do that one, and this is on 22.37%. Look at him. So cute. I'm not sure, I might actually be able to find, I know on here, let's see if I can just get the view PDF. So this, look at that. So this is what it will look like when it's finished. I'm undecided whether or not I want to do any of the greenery and the leaves around the outside, or whether I'll just do the baby jackalope. So I'm starting on the baby jackalope. I'll finish him first, and then I will move on to the foliage afterwards, if I want it, once I've decided. So I don't need to find out this is what it will look like picture now, because I've shown you. God, handy. Okay, so that is all my WIPs. It's a bit of a guddle here, so I'm going to quickly pause, tidy up, and then I'll come back to you and speak to you very briefly about my plans moving forward. Hiya, so I'm back. Okay, so a little bit of a technical malfunction there is I ran out of phone storage, which is fine. I've deleted a few bits and pieces, but I'm going to know how to do this really quickly so that I don't end up running out of more space and having to delete more things that in a panic. So, plans. My plans are to do my WIP Go goal calls for May, because I'm following WIP Go this year. So my WIP Go goals for May, when they are called, I will do those. They haven't been called yet, so I can't say what they're going to be, but I've managed to keep up to date so far, so I am on track for a blackout by the end of the year. My first plan, non-related to WIP Go, is I'm going to be stitching my final piece of my Sea Creature Marine collection from Unicstitch. Fantastic news though is that these are now available for purchase within the UK, so you haven't got to go directly through Ukraine and get them shipped over. They're already in the country, and the lovely Rachel at Talking Dog Stitchery has these. Unfortunately, because of the timing of this video, they went live a few days ago, and I do believe that the majority of the sea creatures have sold out. However, I'm pretty sure that Rach will be reordering some new ones to restock those. So if you're interested, reach out to Rach at Talking Dog Stitchery, and she will be able to help you and give you some guidance and advice on when these will then be re-available. So that's plan 1. Plan number 2 is I would like to start this one, which is from the March 2026 World of Cross Stitcher magazine. It's called Arctic Animals Iceberg, and I'm going to be stitching this in May for the Whale Hello There Sal, which is being hosted by the lovely Charlie at Stitchings with Charlie here on YouTube and over on Instagram. The focus for the Sal is anything with whales. Charlie's really open with what other options you can do, just to get as many people involved as possible. So go over to her Flosstube and have a little listen to her Flosstube video where she explains what's going to be involved in the Whale Hello There Sal. So I'm going to be starting this one with her for her birthday. That's again in May. I'm lucky enough that I have got the called for fabric for it. So it's a lovely piece. It's got the sky at the top and then the sea at the bottom. So that's fabulous. So that would be great to start that one on. My next plan is that I would start the When I Think of Spring by Puntini Bantini. Now this one I can completely blame Sue from Sue's Knots and Crosses on Instagram. She showed her completed stitch of this. I've got this in my stash, as you can see, and I wanted to stitch it as well. I've been thinking about it for quite some time, doing seasonal things, seasonal cushions. I've got all 4 of these. Spring would be a great one to start in May, hopefully get it finished in May, so it sticks within the season. So that's that one, that's that plan. And then finally, within April, I wrote a list of lots of new starts that I wanted to try and get done. So the other thing that I want to try and get done before the end of April, so if I film again in May, you will see, is I want to start the next part of the La Finestra del Tempo windows. So I've done the first 4, which if you go onto my Instagram, you can see those ones, but I want to start the May pattern with the fox, and then see if I can try and get a few more done this year. Not planning on finishing the whole remaining 8, but I would like to try and get a few more of those ticked off and done this year. That's that one. I think, and then I would also like to start my Welcome to the Nut House by Waxing Moon Designs, because I think this would just be brilliant in my hallway, just to welcome anyone that comes in to the Nut House. It's just a cute little design, and I've also got the little button to go on the front in the squirrel's hand there. So there's that one. Now, speaking of Waxing Moon Designs, as a celebratory returning to Flosstube, I thought that I would do a little giveaway. It's not a huge giveaway, it's just a little thing to mark my return to Flosstube. It is by Waxing Moon Designs, and it's called My Stitching Time. Now, while I've been away, I have continued to stitch, and it says my stitching time is sometimes for your safety. Remember that. And I just thought, actually, this is really quite apt, considering, you know, the reasons I've been away, having a baby, getting married, moving house, quite stressful, and actually cross stitch is what's gotten me through. So I've got this pattern to give away. Sorry, I can't really see it very well. I think that's a little bit clearer. So if you would like to win this chart, if you put the word time in the comments below, and then I will pull a winner. This is going to be open to anyone within the UK, just because of the postage, so sorry to everyone outside of the UK. So yes, so using the word time, and if you would like to win this pattern, please don't put anything like giveaway or win or anything in the comments, and please be a subscriber, and I will draw it in my next Flosstube, which also doing this means I've got to come back. So that's a two-pronged approach to getting me to continue to do regular Flosstubes, and as a sort of celebratory thank you for coming back, me returning kind of a thing. So yes, if you would like that pattern, time in the comments below, and I will draw a winner in my next video. So I'm going to wrap it up there because it's already been about an hour. My son will be waking up soon, so I need to get everything tidied before he does wake up. So thank you very much again for tuning in. If you like what you see, please like, subscribe below, and I will see you very soon. Thank you very much. Bye.